Have you ever questioned the true cost of intelligence? Society glorifies it, schools reward it, and people chase after it all their lives, believing that it leads to success, admiration, and a better life. But what if we've been completely wrong? What if intelligence isn't a gift, but a curse? What if the very thing you take pride in is silently destroying your happiness, stealing your peace, and making your life harder instead of better? Arthur Schopenhauer, one of the most brutally honest philosophers in history, believed intelligence is not just the key to happiness, but also the reason so many people suffer. The smarter you are, the more you see through the illusions that keep others content. You notice life's emptiness, human flaws, and the absurdity of existence, things most people remain blissfully ignorant of. And once you see the truth, you can never unsee it. Today, we're diving deep into Schopenhauer's chilling warning about intelligence, a warning so powerful that it could change the way you view your own mind forever. By the end of this video, you may start to wonder, is intelligence really worth it? Born in 1788, Schopenhauer lived his life full of suffering and uncertainty. While his colleagues were focused on grand ideas on progress, he chose to look into the dark side of the human condition. His philosophical views were one of a kind, and they offered a view of the human condition like it has never been seen before. One of his most striking beliefs was about what it costs to be intelligent. Schopenhauer saw intelligence as not just the ability to solve problems or collect knowledge. To him, it had more than one meaning. It was a tool that could elevate us to greater heights, but could also throw us into the depth of despair and regret. He believed that the more intelligent you turn out to be, the more intense you will experience life suffering. Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see, he famously said. Let's take a look at Schopenhauer's famous intelligence paradox to gain a better insight into why intelligence is not as we perceive it to be. The intelligence paradox. Schopenhauer's paradox of intelligence explains the idea that while society values intelligence in theory, highly intelligent individuals often face social isolation and rejection because their superior intellect can make others feel inadequate, leading to resentment and pushback against them, even if it is done unintentionally. He explained that intelligence increases our awareness, but that's not all. It also intensifies our pain sensitivity. An intelligent person has the ability to see through illusions, those comforting lies we tell ourselves, and become much more aware. According to Schopenhauer's paradox, the more we understand our place in the universe and how it works, the more we get confronted by its indifference. Like many other brilliant minds that lived before, Schopenhauer's work on the human mind was rejected during his time. But why is that? Take Nikola Tesla, for instance. He was a man who wanted to revolutionize electricity, but because his idea was advanced and it stood against what society is used to, he was turned down and he got rejected, which ultimately led to his lonely death in a small hotel. He famously wrote to his mother, "All these years that I had spent in the service of mankind brought me nothing but insults and humiliation," citing what he went through. But this doesn't mean Tesla's innovation died with him. Centuries later, he is now being celebrated as one of the brilliant minds behind the invention of electricity and other notable inventions. Other great minds like Galileo Galilei were also ridiculed and rejected by society. Galileo was imprisoned for his discoveries during his lifetime, but today, centuries after his death, he is celebrated as a scientific genius. Vincent van Gogh lived and died in poverty, yet his paintings, like the famous Mona Lisa, are worth millions today. This is all because society doesn't accept and embrace intelligence when it challenges the norms. It does that only when it feels safe and easier to understand. Nietzsche's work was considered too radical and unsettling during his lifetime. He argued that society's traditional morality is flawed, full of comforting lies, and true strength only came from creating one's values, which led to his rejection because his ideas were too much for people to handle at the time. He was labeled as insane, and his works were ignored. Yet today, his philosophy is considered one of the most influential in psychology, literature, and existentialism. But what's more profound about this paradox is that intelligent individuals bear this burden more intensely than others. He argued that because of our heightened awareness, our ability to find joy in simple pleasures gets eroded. An intelligent person often sees these simple pleasures are distractions, rendering them hollow and unfulfilling. But this doesn't mean intelligence is a curse or inherently bad. Schopenhauer recognized the value of intelligence, but emphasized us to view it for what it truly is. He believed that many intelligent individuals fall into the hole of over-depending on their intellect to navigate life with the hope that it will lead them to happiness and internal satisfaction. But he argued that happiness is not a product of knowledge, it is embedded in something much simpler. Think about this. How many times have you found yourself overthinking things that have happened, analyzing them, and trying to find answers to unanswered questions? This is viewed as a curse of intelligence. According to Schopenhauer, he explained that an intelligent mind cannot stop overthinking and searching for answers even when there is nothing to find. But what can we do if it turns out that there is a darker side to intelligence than how we view it? Schopenhauer's answer is quite interesting. While he didn't suggest completely abandoning intelligence, he doubled down on the importance of managing its effects. He believed that developing tranquility can serve as the practical solution to the restlessness caused by an overthinking mind. So how can we cultivate tranquility as Schopenhauer suggested? Tranquility. To cultivate tranquility, Schopenhauer first tasked us to accept certain truths about life and how we view it. Suffering should be acknowledged as it is, an inevitable part of human experience. Instead of denying and resisting it, we should accept and embrace it as part of life. After dealing with suffering, the second task to cultivating tranquility is to recognize the limits of our understanding. Pushing and overthinking won't always get us the answers we need. Therefore, we should accept that there will always be questions we cannot answer and mysteries we cannot solve. Only by recognizing and accepting this can we free ourselves from the unending chase of certainty where it cannot be found. For the final task, Schopenhauer emphasized seeking meaning in simple moments of beauty rather than in grand achievements. It can be a piece of music, a sunset view, or even a captivating smell of a flower, because these are the treasures of life that even the most intelligent of all cannot improve upon. But Schopenhauer had another jaw-dropping belief about tranquility, one that he got from Eastern philosophies, Buddhism to be specific. He believed that the ideal form of tranquility is achieved in letting go of yourself, the very entity that yearns for understanding and control. According to him, we could free ourselves from the endless cycle of suffering by transcending the ego. Let's take a moment and analyze Schopenhauer's insights about intelligence. You may have felt that your level of intelligence brought nothing but sadness and disappointment rather than a sense of fulfillment that others are striving for. Sometimes you even wish you could just turn off the voice inside you just to have some peaceful moment. But since that's not possible, what's the other option? To answer this question, we take a deeper dive into Schopenhauer's perspective and examine a key principle of his theory, the will to live, will to live. The will must live on itself, for there exists nothing besides it, and it is a hungry will. Arthur Schopenhauer. Schopenhauer saw the will to live as a fundamental force driving all existence, including humans, animals, and even the inorganic world. He described it as an insatiable blind impulse that obliges every living being to survive, multiply by reproducing, and strive even in the face of unavoidable suffering. This driving, he described, is relentless and most indifferent to the well-being of the individual. He did not believe that the world was a manifestation of God, but rather he saw the world as the manifestation of will, which in turn is not divine, but dangerous and demonic. All humans are slaves to the will, caught in an endless cycle of dissatisfaction. But Schopenhauer argued that a highly intelligent individual has the ability to see through illusions of the will, to recognize the pointlessness of chasing one desire after another, only to be left unsatisfied, while a less intelligent person might live in peace and harmony with the will, pursuing desires without questioning their true potential or purpose. The realization by the intelligent individual comes at a cost, one that creates a disconnection between the person and the rest of humanity, just because they see life's deeper and darker truths. This makes them feel like an outsider rather than a participant in their own surroundings. But here's the twist. The same intelligence that isolates and pressures us also holds the key to transcending the will through the power of art and contemplation, as described by Schopenhauer. He believed that art offers a unique escape from our suffering. Engaging with art, whether it's music, visual beauty, or literature, helps you enter a state of pure perception. It is in these moments that you find yourself no longer overwhelmed by desires. Instead, you experience a special and rare kind of freedom where you can just observe and appreciate life without the weight of striving that comes with it. But that's not all. Schopenhauer argued that intelligence is not all dark and demonic. He believed that it could also be used to cultivate a state of detachment he described as quieting the will. How is this possible, and how can it be achieved? Quieting the will. Schopenhauer believed that the will can be denied through asceticism and suffering. This suffering can lead to salvation, which can be achieved when the ascetic recognizes the will's inner conflict and its essential vanity. The process of quieting the will involves taking a step back from its constant control, which dominates our lives, and instead embracing acceptance and tranquility. Quitting the will is easier said than done. In a world where success and ambition are celebrated and glorified, the idea of taking a step back may not sound like something you should do, but Schopenhauer describes that to become truly satisfied and fulfilled, you do not need to keep striving to achieve or know more. All you need is to let go of the expectation and the incessant need of wanting to make sense of everything happening to you or even around you. You may have felt overwhelmed by the constant pressure to achieve something, to keep getting better and progressing through the ranks. But what if you are just punishing yourself, and the true solution isn't to do more, but it is the opposite? That's something you should think about for a moment before we spill what Schopenhauer suggested about this. While he believed that intelligence isn't what we view it to be, he suggested some practical ways that intelligent individuals can use to cope with the situation. The first is for intelligent individuals to embrace solitude. Schopenhauer didn't believe solitude to be a punishment, but a privilege, one that only the intelligent ones can enjoy and benefit from. He therefore suggested that intelligent individuals should use the times they find themselves alone for intellectual and creative endeavors, instead of looking for validation from external forces. He also advised us to seek those who think and view the world through similar lenses to us and engage with them. But he warned against sharing too much insight and deep personal information with those who may not understand and may even become hostile towards you. The best way to do that is by first observing your environment and the society at large and learning their patterns to gain more insight on how and who to share with. For the next stop in our journey, we will be exploring how Schopenhauer's theory on intelligence is considered one of the most profound, which continues to shape modern philosophy and psychology. There is a reason why Schopenhauer's work endured for centuries, even after his death. He addresses universal struggles of the human condition and presents a path to peace that is still relevant today as it was during his lifetime. By understanding the costs of intelligence, and understanding how to quiet the will, we can achieve a state of clarity that only deep thinkers can experience. But how can we apply this knowledge in our daily lives, and what practical ways can we take to transform our relationship with intelligence and how we view it? Stay with us. This is where we unravel the most important revelation of all, the practical applications of Schopenhauer's philosophy and how his theories about intelligence can transform our daily lives. He believed that the first step towards freedom for a deep thinker is awareness, that is, recognizing the different patterns of the will and how they affect and control our lives. But how can we implement that in our daily lives? We start with developing awareness. Schopenhauer argues that most individuals spend their time chasing after desires, recognition, and wealth status, with the belief that fulfilling these things will bring lasting happiness. Yet even after achieving what we want, the satisfaction doesn't last long. The mind quickly comes up with a new desire or goal to move on to. This causes us to get trapped in an endless cycle. But how can we break out of this cycle and reclaim ourselves? He suggested an absolute shift in our perspective. Instead of pursuing external goals, we should pursue inward goals. To do that, we should observe our desires with full honesty and without judgment. We should figure out why we are chasing after those goals and why we actually want to achieve them. You will realize that they are just societal expectations and not what you truly desire on your own. By doing this simple act, you will be able to detach yourself from the unending pull of the will. Schopenhauer also emphasized learning to engage with the world without falling victim to indifference. One way to practice this is by engaging in meditation. By just sitting in stillness and reading your thoughts, you can develop a sense of detachment between yourself and the constant noise of your mind. Another practical tool Schopenhauer advised is to pursue spiritual nourishment, which can be both artistic and intellectual. He believed that philosophy and art, when put together, have the power to elevate us beyond the agony of the will itself. Spiritual nourishment. Schopenhauer argued that when we engage ourselves with literary works like music or philosophy, we are not just escaping. Instead, it serves as a way to connect to the deeper truths about our existence. It opens doors for us to experience a rare moment of greatness, a moment to forget all about the chaos around us and touch something in the far beyond. Schopenhauer argued that by developing compassion for others, you can deal with the isolation that you face for being a deep thinker. He argued that recognizing and accepting that all living beings share suffering is the key to creating a real connection. When you see others as fellow companions in the same journey of suffering and difficulty, your perspective changes. But this doesn't mean pretending to be dumb or lowering your standards, but using your understanding power to encourage empathy and bridge those gaps between you and others, which will lead to creating meaningful relationships. But here is the twist about Schopenhauer's philosophy. Even though it is seen as being pessimistic, it actually provides empowering insights. He explained that by confronting and embracing the harsh truths about life, we can find a deeper kind of happiness, one that doesn't disappear easily and is independent of the pressure of external forces like society. Now, what do you think about Schopenhauer's ideas on intelligence? Do you think intelligence is a curse or blessing in your own life? These are the kinds of questions you should ask yourself, because they are the kinds that have the power to change how we perceive intelligence. Let's continue by connecting the pieces of wisdom we have unraveled together in this journey and explore Schopenhauer's insights that can change our perception of intelligence and ultimately our lives. Remember, Schopenhauer argued that sometimes the greatest truths are not found in our achievements and success, but in what we learn to not hold on to and let go of. Therefore, his philosophy reveals a liberating truth. The continuous pursuit of fame, desires, and success does not necessarily lead to happiness and satisfaction. Instead, it opens the door to a much deeper awareness of life's struggles and suffering. But the same awareness turns out to be the roadmap to transcendence. To truly embrace Schopenhauer's theories, we must accept some principles. The first is to accept life's duality. He explained that to live wisely and make the best of your life, you have to accept that life is a balance of light and darkness, happiness and suffering. Accepting this duality means making peace with the fact that every moment of joy carries the possibility of grief, and every moment of sorrow holds the potential for growth. By doing this, we will be able to approach life with a sense of balance. It means engaging in life fully, but without illusions that build expectations. When you cease from executing life to be a constant stream of positivity, you free yourself from unnecessary disappointment. Next is to understand the art of detachment. Schopenhauer has emphasized the art of detachment throughout his philosophy. He argued that much of our suffering comes from holding on to relationships, desires, and even identities that are not our own. Detachment means learning to engage with these things without letting them control and define us, rather than abandoning them completely. Think of it like holding a little chick in your hand. If you hold it too tightly, you crush it. But if you hold it the right way, you will be able to appreciate its beauty and innocence. Third is the pursuit of higher meaning. Schopenhauer believed that art, philosophy, and self-reflection were essential tools for navigating through life's challenges. They allow us to step outside the unending need to satisfy the will and connect with something greater than you and I. Engaging in any of these tools doesn't mean you will escape life, but you will enrich your life with a moment of transcendence beyond your individual existence. Fourth is compassion as the ultimate connection. Schopenhauer had a deep insight into the power of compassion. He believed recognizing that other individuals are companions who share the same struggles is the road to creating ultimate connections. By doing this, we open ourselves to a much deeper connection with others. It allows us to see beyond our experiences and struggles, thereby making us extend kindness and empathy to others. This transforms us to break free from the loneliness and isolation that sometimes comes with intelligence. It gives us the ability to contribute to a world that is a little more humane. Fifth is quieting the will. Schopenhauer's teachings had one ultimate goal, which was not to escape life, but to embrace it and find the peace that comes with it. He believed that this peace only comes from quieting the constant, unending desires of the will and developing a state of inner tranquility through practices like meditation or spending time in nature. Imagine engaging yourself in a quiet activity that makes your heart feel at peace. We could all experience it if we practice quieting the will. As we come towards the end of this profound journey on Schopenhauer's brutal warning about intelligence, we can finally answer the question of whether intelligence is a gift or a burden. The answer is both. Intelligence can be a gift and also a burden. It can isolate us and reveal the harsh truths about life, but it can also free and connect us to the astonishing mystery of existence. We get to decide how we want to let intelligence affect us. We can choose to let it become a source of suffering or a tool for growth and transcendence. If you feel like Schopenhauer's philosophy resonates with you, share your thoughts, questions, and experiences with intelligence. Together, we can explore the deep hidden truths that make life meaningful and provide answers to the unending and burning questions about our existence. Remember, Schopenhauer taught us that intelligence is not just a source of burden, it is also a source of light. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.